Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing to you a project recipe today that's really special. This was designed specifically for our beginners, our beginner scrapbookers. So even if you have wanted to scrapbook for a long time and have been trying to figure out the project recipes and don't quite understand, this project recipe is for you, and it's going to be super easy. So I hope that you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll follow along, and even if you're a seasoned scrapbooker, it's really nice sometimes to have just a really quick and easy layout that you can do in your back pocket, you know, and when you just need to get something done really quickly. And this is one of those. Okay, so this is our beginner project recipe for quarter one. It's my understanding that our home office is going to be giving us a new beginner project recipe for each quarter. So this is the one for the first quarter of 2023. And I'm so excited to be able to share these with you because I know it's really easy to feel overwhelmed and like you want to be able to do all the fancy stuff that you think is, you know, really hard, but it's really not as hard as you think, first of all, and secondly, you know, it's okay to say I'm gonna learn as I go. I'm gonna work up to it. So this is a perfect one to get started with. What you're going to need, what I have on my desktop here, is my 12-inch trimmer. If you don't have the Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer, that's okay, but you will want to work up to getting one of these. This is like my right arm, and I use this constantly. So you will want one of these, trust me. Oh, excuse me. In addition to a 12-inch trimmer, you're also going to need some designer papers. All of the Creative Memories papers are double-sided, which is fantastic. These particular ones come from a collection called Calm and Collected that was a designer paper pack that was a mini pack, like a half of a normal pack of paper. It had 6 sheets, and probably in order to get this you needed to be an advisor, or you needed to go to an event where an advisor was offering this as kind of a perk. But these are really beautiful papers and it came out like in the fall, so these are kind of more fallish tones. But I want you to keep in mind that this project recipe can really be used with anything. So you know, don't feel like you're locked into what I'm doing or the themes that I'm using. That's not what this is about. This project recipe can be used with absolutely anything. So keep that in mind, okay? So you're going to need 3 sheets of paper, mainly because you're going to have 2 base sheets and you're going to cut 1. And so what I have here are 2 of the same. I have these 2 plaid papers with this pretty leaf pattern on the back. I'm going to use the plaid paper and the leaf side, and those are going to be my base sheets. Then I'm going to use this piece of paper with this beautiful jade toned leaf print on top of it, and this is going to be the print that I'm going to use. It also has this print on the back, but I've chosen to go with this one because I just really like it. Okay, so let me show you the project recipe. If you're not familiar with what our project recipes look like, you will have photos of the left and the right side of the 2-page layout first off, so you can see a sample of what you're going to be making. Then below that you're going to have a sketch. The sketch is an interpretation, or the layout that you see up here is an interpretation of this sketch. And so what you see in the sketch are different tones of black and white. What you want to notice is if there are any matching tones. So you can sometimes tell that, you know, this paper over here matches another paper on this side that's the same tone of the black and white, and then you know that's the same paper. Or there are other ways to know also, but in this particular one we only have to worry about papers A, B, and C. And over here on the next page you can see the cutting guide, which is always on page 2. And because we're only cutting one piece of paper, what they've done is they've just shown in 3 different gradients what the 3 different pieces are and where they're located. So this darkest sheet right here that is cut at 12 by 8 is going to be this sheet right here, and that gradient of black and white matches, so you can tell that that's the same paper. And then you've got a 2-inch piece here and a 2-inch piece here, and the lightest one goes at the top and the middle grade one goes at the bottom. Okay, so this is going to come together very, very quick and easy. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I did just a second ago, when I had to edit for a second, is I pulled out some of my matte stencils so that I can show you where the photos are going to go, and you can see the sizes that they will be. Okay, so that'll make that so much easier. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to remove this piece for a second. I'm going to move those stickers over there, and going to just take this piece right here. That's the only one we're really terribly concerned about at the moment. We're going to cut 2 pieces off of this, and it's going to leave us with our 3rd piece. So we're going to cut 2 2-inch by 12-inch strips, and I'm just going to go ahead and line this up using the left-hand side of my trimmer, because the right-hand side only measures to 1 3/4 inches. So we're going to measure going the opposite way, and using our shoulder on the trimmer to keep our paper nice and straight, also using the grid lines on the trimmer to keep the paper nice and straight. And so we're going to cut 2 strips that are 2 inches, and then that's going to leave us with 1 strip that is 8 inches. And this, so 2 by 12, 2 at 2 by 12, and 1 at 8 by 12. All right, so that's all we need, and I'm going to set my trimmer aside for a second. Now we're going to lay these out so that we can see how this is going to look. So I'm going to follow the recipe exactly the way the sketch indicates that we are to use it. Then I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do as options. Okay, so this is the way that this layout will go initially. Okay, and then you would take your photo stencils and you would lay out, trying to find a way to put this so you can see it, but I'm not finding one. Let's see, maybe I can stick it kind of underneath there so you can see. There we go. Okay, so you can take your 3.5 by 3.5s, and these would go right here. Again, these are your photos cut at 3.5 inches square, and they would go right here like that. And then you would have another photo cut at 5.5 inches, and another cut, 5.5 by 3.5, and a second one cut at 5.5 by 3.5. All right, and then you would have 2 horizontal pictures cut at 5.5 by 3.5 going this way, and another one at 5.5 by 3.5 going this way. All right, so that is a layout that just matches the sketch. Can you see that? Let me move this down just a little so you can see that a little bit easier. Okay, so what I want you to think about is how versatile this is going to be, because you can flip this different directions if you want to and create something that looks completely different. Okay, you can take your double-sided paper and you can flip this over if you want to. You can flip this one over as well. Creates just a different look. Like so. You can flip this base page so that it matches the other base page if you want. You could keep this one the same and just flip over one or the other or both of these on this side, just to give a little bit of a different looking layout. You could turn this layout. I kind of like it when these are all matchy because, you know, if you've watched my channel, you know I like matchy stuff. So like this, and then you could either center these or you can leave them off to the side and use this area for journaling, which is what I would do even if it was turned the other direction, is use this area to journal in. Okay. You could turn this one the same direction and then you get a very similar effect. And if you do that, then I would take your photos and I would center them on your page instead of having them so close to the bottom. But what I'm trying to impress upon you is that you can flip and get creative with a sketch and use and do it the way you like it best. You're not glued into exactly the way the sketch is written. The sketch is simply there to inspire you so that you can get started. And so it just sort of motivates you and moves you in a direction. Okay, so I'm going to flip this back over because I just really love this color, and flip these back over. Going to turn this back around. All right, and then what I'm going to do is go ahead and secure these papers. So I'm just going to leave those off to the side there for a second. I'm going to use my permanent adhesive. Anytime you're not putting down something that you think you're going to need to move, it's a good idea to use the regular Creative Memories adhesive to put it down. I always use repositionable, however, if I'm doing a border that is that has holes in it, because it's just not worth the stress in my life of trying to make that work with regular adhesive. All right. So I am lining up my paper on my grid that I'm working on. So if you're not working on a mat like I am, you might want to look into getting the Creative Memories self-healing mat that's 13 by 13, because it's great to work on. In fact, I know a lot of advisors that use 2 of them side by side, and it works great for laying out your pages. I'm using this so that I can center my piece that I want to adhere, because it needs to be 2 inches from the top and 2 inches from the bottom, and I don't want to get out my zero centering ruler, so this works just really great for me to have the grid right on my working surface. And if you're curious about what kind of mat I'm using, this is just a mat that I picked up from my local big craft store, and you'll find them in the sewing department. A lot of our quilting sisters use these. It's a self-healing mat that is designed for cutting quilt pieces on. It's the biggest one that I could find, and it covers a great deal of my work table, so I love it. It works great. And it makes it so that I don't have to pull out or worry about when I'm using my custom cutting system and things like that. I know I'm not going to damage my table. All right, so I'm adhering this strip right flush with that edge, and I'm just going to turn it around and do the same thing with this one. I don't know what the weather is like for you right now. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, and it's a Sunday afternoon in January in Utah, and it snowed some more last night, so we woke up this morning to a driveway that, you know, probably needed to be cleared. However, the weather tomorrow says it's going to be sunshiny, so I'm not going to stress about trying to clear a bunch of snow because my husband's out of town at the moment. So he's normally my snow remover guy. My sweet neighbor actually came and did my steps for me so that I didn't have to worry about it, since I'm still kind of recovering from my surgery. All right, so this collection, these papers came with these cute stickers, and you'll notice right at the top it says autumn is my season. I'm going to use stickers that don't really apply to a season just because I don't know what photos I'm going to end up using on these pages just yet. But if you know what kind of, you know, what your pictures are you're using, then, you know, of course, make your clusters, customize your clusters to what your photos are showing you. Because that's what this is about, right? So I'm going to use This Life, Food, Friends, and Thanks. And let's see. I think I'm going to use Oh Lovely Day. And those are going to be my words for my three clusters. Then I'm going to use a leaf in each of my clusters, and I'm going to use some hearts in each of my clusters, and then I think we'll be good. Let's see. This Life, and I'm going to use love down here. It's just a little additional word sticker. Love This Life. Okay, so we've got that one. That's a nice cluster there. We're going to use the leaf kind of going off the edge of the Food, Friends, and Thanks. And I'm going to grab a couple of these other hearts. But I think, let me see here. So our sketch, you can see, gives you an idea of what their suggestion is for where to put your title, where to put so here's the title right here, where to put your embellishments, which are these cute little flower icons, and then where to put your journaling, which they have these lines right here if you can't see that in the picture. And that's just to indicate that that's a good place for writing the story that goes along with these photos. And I just want to encourage you to make sure that you're not omitting that part. Make sure that you are getting the journaling in, because so much of what we do as scrapbookers is about recording our life. It's about recording the special times with our family and our friends and our loved ones, whether they're furry friends or friends from down the street or our family members. It's important that we tell the story and we know who those people are and what the occasion was that the photos were taken under, or any kind of funny story about what happened and why you've got those pictures, you know. That's important. And those are the things you're going to want to remember. So make sure you're writing them down. All right, what did I do with my other stickies? Here they are. When I put a foam square on stickers, sometimes the stickers stick to my page, and that's okay. It's not ideal. If you're worried about it, you can add a little bit of cornstarch to the back of your photos, or I mean to the back of your stickers, so that they're not as sticky. And I know many people who do that. It's I did try that on several occasions and just decided that, you know what, it's nice, but it's not always critical, so I don't tend to worry about it as much. Alright, so we're going to have our food, friends, and thanks up here in this corner with these photos over here, and I'll get those stencils back on there for you so you can see. And then these photos, or this cluster is going to go down here. And when you pop it up with foam squares, the reason you'll see so many advisors say pop it up with foam squares is because when you pop it up with foam squares, it adds dimension to your layout. It adds interest. It adds a layer of attention getting, which is a good thing. And so so you'll want to try that. Try some foam squares with your embellishments. Whether they're stickers or laser embellishments, you know, either one is fine. Try some foam squares. And speaking of that, so the foam squares that we have on sale regularly come in two different sizes. This one's about a 1/2 inch square. This one is about a 1/4 inch square. You get obviously way more of the small ones. And sometimes that can be tricky because your design is sometimes even smaller than the small ones. So let me show you what I'm going to do here. That one's going to wait just a second because I need to fix these hearts that I want to add. I want to add some foam squares to these hearts, but they're kind of tiny. Can you see that? Trying to keep it over the darker paper so that you can see better. And I'm also trying to get this off my fingernail so that I can use both hands. Okay, there we go. I'm going to grab my scissors, whether you have precision point scissors or the handy dandy Creative Memories blue scissors, which are like the best thing ever. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut one of these small foam squares in half. And then that way I can use them in a smaller space. Okay, so I'm just going to carefully place that there, and then carefully place the other half on the other long side of those hearts. And then that way I can add this to my cluster and it will stay popped up and supported. I think I want it to be kind of down here like this. Okay, and I'm going to add just one or two more of these small foam squares just along here. Just enough to keep it from sticking to my page. Get the other side of the stickies taken off. And we are just about done. So if I hadn't taken the time to show you, all the different variations, we would have been done with this a long time ago, but that's okay. I feel like it's important to share those kinds of tips so you can learn, because that's what this is about. I'm teaching, and I want you to learn. all the fun things that you can do with your photos. Okay, so here are our photos, and then we're going to use this area down here to tell the story about what's going on in these photos. And over here we have these other photos that, according to the sketch, go this direction. Now, you can move them however you need to move them. If you have vertical photos instead of horizontal photos, then by all means, all you need to do is just turn them and set them this way. If you're one of those kind of people that you need, a verbal permission to be able to be creative and do something different than the picture, I'm giving you all the credit, all the permission that you need right now, okay? Just go ahead and do it. Move it according to the way that your photos need you to move it, and you'll be able to accommodate whatever you need. If you need to put another picture right up here, do it. That's totally fine. If you need to, to add a couple more, maybe 2 square pictures up here, that's fine too. Do it. So whatever you need to do to create your layout, it's your layout. This sketch, the project recipe, is just a launching place for your creativity. All right? I hope that you've enjoyed doing this with me today and looking into, some alternatives and different ways that you can create and jazz things up and do your own thing with your project recipes as you put them together. And I hope that you will join me next time we do a project recipe and try it. I think you'll find they're a lot of fun. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I wish you many more creative moments. Have a great day.